And the Marcher Stewards are a group of 17th century living history people who are about to show you a few of the weapons that they use. The first one will be a matchlock musket. And the one gentleman we have here with a matchlock today will walk along so that you can see not only his gun, but also the fact that he's dangling and clanging away with all manner of wooden bottles about his person. Each wooden bottle you see hanging from him is containing one measured charge of powder. You'll probably see in his other hand he's holding some lighted smouldering stuff. So he's a walking bomb. From a long way. All that powder hanging round him, and he's carrying a lighted match. He throws away his lighted match so that it won't be anywhere near his gun when he's loading. He will take the top off one of his bottles, which was called an apostle because there were 12 of them, and he'll tip the measured charge down the barrel, taking care not to put the top back on, or when he's next given the order to fire, he'll try and load with an empty bottle, as he does sometimes. He then put a musket ball down, but your laws won't allow that for some reason or other. Then he gets something or other to help run it all home. It might be a piece of paper, it might be some sacking, some grass. Then he takes his scouring stick, which is called a ramrod sometimes, because it rams everything down to the far end of the barrel. It has to be tight, because if you imagine, if he was at the top of a tower and he's trying to shoot at the enemy below, if he hadn't rammed it tight, all that would happen is the musket ball would just dribble out the end. Now he turns his attention to the other end of the gun, where there's a container called the pan. In that pan he'll put fine powder. That powder goes off instead of sending the charge down the barrel. It's just called a flash in the pan, a something and nothing, something that's over quickly. Then comes the hard part. He has to position his lighted match board so that when he pulls the trigger, the lighted end will just touch the powder in the pan.
The method. First of all,
are you ready, Master Jonathan? Now when he fires, I mean, because of the wind, we don't know whether it's going to take all the noise away, it'll sound like a little pop gun, or whether it's going to be quite loud. You can put your fingers in your ears if you want, but the main thing is, open your mouth slightly. If you open your mouth, you'll get no ear damage. Over to you. If you find you have some of that toilet paper, which has come out of the end of the gun, it won't harm you, but don't put it in your mouth, or you might want to go to the toilet and use the paper. Because what we do using the gun can help. It helps nature do what nature does. And if a child sucks it, it won't do them any harm, but they'll want to go to the toilet. The next lot of guns are called flintlocks. The lighted match has been replaced by a piece of rock-formed flint going wherever they're pointing. So when the trigger is pulled, the metal touches the flint, a spark is caused, and you will then, we hope, get an explosion. They've discovered that relying on 12 bottles is not much good in a battle. If you make cartridges of measured charges. You can put as many of those in your pockets and pouches as you want. They load in the same way. They just bite or pull off the top of the cartridge.
What you got, baby?
They empty it down into the barrel. And then the rest of the procedure is the same as before with the other gun.
Have you got... Perfect. Natural.
When you're ready, open your mouths slightly, everybody. Are you standing in the way, Master Jonathan? Give fire! Now the next gun that you'll see is called a hand cannon. It looks just like a piece of pipe, but when you think of it, that's all guns are. A bit of pipe that is adapted so that it can shoot something out the air. But this piece of pipe was nicknamed a hook gun because it has a hook on the end of it that you can hook over a castle wall, or you could hook onto a wagon on the battlefield, and it needs a very strong man to fire it. He has to make a very firm base so that when it's lit it doesn't knock him over. So he can't light this gun himself. So behind him is standing Master Robert, and Master Robert isn't daft, he doesn't want to go too near. So he's got his lighted match on the end of a rather fancy stick called a linstock. And when Master Philip is ready, then Master Robert will go near, and when given the signal, open your mouth!
A sustainably powered jumping mass. I'm going to show you, it's a very simple balloon.
Now that was
so it goes into the last one in there like that.
Now that last one was called a hand cannon, but this one is what you probably know as a proper cannon. It's just the same. It's still a piece of pipe that you could shoot something out of. Now before you start with a cannon, you have to clean it. So he's making sure there's nothing down the end, with a piece of stick with a curly screw on the end called a worm. Anything on them? No? Good.
Lovely! Look!
When he's sure it's absolutely safe to do so, he'll put a large cartridge in the end. He'll ram that home very, very firmly. Then they'll fill it with anything they can find. We found this morning caerphilly grass was brilliant. Then fine powder goes in the other end. And with the wind as it is today, sometimes you put the fine powder in and it blows away straight away. So don't be surprised if the cannon doesn't go off first time. Open your mouths! I told you caerphilly grass was good, didn't I? Use that as wadding and you get a wonderful effect. Whether this next bit will work or not, we're not sure. But they're going to try and let everything off at the same time. Very often they get what's called a misfire, and if you hear the shout, misfire, you know that there's still somebody around with a loaded gun. So expect another bang, because they have to clear it. They're not allowed to walk around with the gun loaded. Now you may think this took a long time to load. How on earth did they manage in battle? Well, they had hundreds of musketeers all lined up in blocks. The first few rows would fire, then they'd retire to the back to reload, then the others would move forward. And don't forget, the other side is taking just as long to load as you are. But you could have continuous fire.
Jumping mass. All we have to do is
the cannon really was just designed to cause chaos among the ranks of soldiers and cavalry and so on. You didn't know where the cannonball was going to land. Horses would be pulled up and they would be rearing all over the place. And once you caused chaos among the ranks of people, then very often the battle could be yours, because your people then just went in and slashed anything in sight. I'm sorry we're having to move away from you people over there, but it's to save you getting toilet paper in your face. Blame the wind, not us. Present your pieces. Open your mouths, everybody. Give fire! Ladies and gentlemen, the Master Stewards will be back in the castle afterwards. If you want to talk to them, if you want to handle any of the weapons, feel free. In the meantime, Master Stewards, give her to say.
Fantastic, that's the one I was looking for.